So when you were getting started in this business, the '00 period of time, there was the famous tech bubble burst or the dot-com burst, as they called it. Do you see AI as potentially in that situation where people are putting so much money into AI, it might turn out not to be worth as much as people think?
David, AI is probably the best hype story, married with the largest opportunity that certainly we've seen for a long time. And I'll share with you a little bit, and maybe I can reflect on a story that we've told to a CEO of one of the largest sovereigns in the world. They were asking, how do I invest behind AI? And we took a step back and said, look, let's make it easy. If we had $10, here's how we think about it. $5 or so, we'd invest into large public players. Some of them are around the fact that they build LLMs. To build a large language model is between $20 and $30 billion, which means you're a very small number of people in the world. You're almost country-like in what you can do. The second is, where do I have a proprietary data set where something unique about what I know will give me an edge? Because the internet itself is about 10% of what the world's knowledge looks like. So the other 90% needs to be something proprietary you can bring. So that's the second vector. The third, of course, are companies that make certain types of semiconductors. They design them or make them. But suddenly you've got 7 to 10 companies that represent, we think, $5 of the $10 in AI. The next $2, $3 we think are about infrastructure, the actual picks and shovels. And for us, we love picks and shovels because they involve cash flow, they involve certainty. Our big play, as we talked about, is in the data center space. It likely is the largest opportunity as I've seen it. And then the last dollar, we would actually hold in cash. And this gets to the hype piece. Where everyone's spending an inordinate amount of time is the application layer of what AI will do. So the killer app, we don't believe exists today in AI. Now, we've seen in excess of 1,500 companies that are in the AI space, in that app world, as they call it. We've made 3 investments to give you a sense of scale. We could be wrong, but we've seen multiples do the same thing. We've seen the valuations, insanity, several $billion, which implies there needs to be a $10 billion outcome. There could be good products, I'm not sure they're companies, but the 3 we invested in, one's a picks and shovels company called Pinecone. It makes vector databases. Another one's called Rider.ai. It takes all your internal information and helps you aggregate it into what your story should be. There's a company called Glean that helps you with looking over your enterprise to see what's important across your platform, and maybe even taking a chance at scribing your email up for you. But it's a very small number, David, because I believe that's where the hype exists.
Do you think the killer app in AI will come ultimately from one of the existing large tech companies? Some people say the best way to invest in AI is go with the Microsofts, the Googles, and so forth. Or do you think it's going to be from some startup?
It's a hard one to tell. My natural story would have been a startup, because that's where innovation always comes from. And why we're pausing is that could be the case, but the data and the ability to scale that data is so uniquely positioned to these large tech players that it may come from a combination of these two, where someone's figured it out. Now, why I pause is only because if you look at Meta as an example, their open source Llama model is pretty impressive, because I can download the model into an air-gapped computer. And for that moment in time, I have the most current model that I can build my company off. So it's quite possible it'll come from innovation. And arguably, entrepreneurs generally, with good partnership, will get there. So my heart is in the fact that an entrepreneur will do it, but I do think it's going to take this next cycle of evolution to get there.